Yesterday, Meta made a major announcement in the AI space by launching a new model called Muse Spark. Before the release, there were quite a few rumors. Some reports suggested that the launch was delayed because the model was performing quite behind other flagships. Now that the official benchmark scores are out, so looking at Meta's own data, Muse Spark is indeed scoring lower than other leading AI models in several different categories, especially in coding and agentic. Anyway, test scores probably do not tell the whole story, so I spent some time testing it, and in this episode we're going to find out how good or how bad it really is. Let's check it out. So I'm going to rerun the test I used in my previous video. The first is a basic simple landing page generation prompt to create a portfolio website for developer using Three.js. Since Meta has not yet released an API for Muse Spark, I have to test it through their chat interface. After a couple minutes, the AI has finished processing my prompt, and here is the result. It looks okay at the first glance. However, there is a critical visual bug in hero section as 3D text was completely blocked. To be honest, this simple bug should not happen with flagship model, and the design is pretty bland in my opinion compared to Gemini and Opus's result. So moving on, we'll use a higher density prompt to generate a website for a food company. We'll see how well the model can adhere to the mid-size prompt, and here is the result. As you can see, most of the simple scroll trigger animation were broken. The background blob effect wasn't there. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed because the result is on par with Qwen 3.527b that I ran locally on a mere 16 gig card. Next, we'll increase the complexity of the test. 1000 tokens prompt size with very specific instruction to create a website with Three.js particles and lighting system, custom animation, horizontal scrolling, aesthetic design and typography. And here is the result. I was very happy at first. I thought the model can finally performed well, but when looking closely, the 3D particle neural link design was incorrect. The expandable box was not working, the horizontal scrolling section was broken, and the information section info was missing entirely with broken toggle button. Even the top menu also has a bug that you can't close it after open, forcing you to reload the entire page. All other flagship model or even Sonnet did not have any issues. So, the front-end design performance was quite a flop. What about the logic capabilities such as game and logic? The next test, I'll have the model create a simple element physics simulator, and here is the result. It's working, I thought. Finally, something good with this model. The sand are falling like they should, the water is liquid, the wood is solid. Until I found a bug that broke the physics. The fire broke everything, and the sand was floating on the water, plus you could burn sand and water with fire. By the way, here is the result from Gemini as a reference. So what about a game? For the last test, I'll prompt the model to create a simple Mario game with basic procedural level generation and enemies, and here is the result. The game itself works fine and playable, but the enemy is floating and upside down. Plus, I don't know what is the red section at the bottom. Also, maybe I'm nitpicking, but why it could not align the digits? And as usual, here are results from Gemini and Sonnet. So that was all for the test. At this point, I'm quite certain I won't be using Muse as a coding model until they update, but to be fair, their official benchmark score also suggested that the selling point of this model isn't coding, but it focuses on health. Anyway, not everything is bad. Here are what I like about MetaMuse. First is Website Previewer. Not only they preview the website result, but also deploy it so you can test it directly. It's very convenient. Also, while the coding quality is not that great, the response time and output speed is quite good. And lastly, Meta give us a pretty generous free quota. I've been testing it for hours and still haven't reached the limit. So what's your thought on Muse Spark? Drop the comment below and don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks for watching and see you next episode.